producer Bronwyn, sweetie! Woo! Woo!
Hello. How are we doing? Are we well? All right, so for those of you who didn't hear, my name is Bronwyn, or as my autocorrect would say, brown sauce. Starting to feel a little rude and impersonal after all these years, if I'm honest. I'll tell you a little bit more about myself. When I'm bored, I like to plan my funeral. Cool, so no one else here has a funeral playlist? Nice. I come from a really big family, and I never got to play my music growing up. And I feel like the afterlife would be my only chance to control the aux cable. And I just really like the idea of forcing my family to sit through an emotionally confusing playlist of my favorite songs. All right? I want them to have to sit there and listen to the Gladiator theme song, followed by Hakuna Matata. Thank you. In fact, I don't even think I want them to listen to songs I liked in life. I kind of like the idea of like my final joke. It's like making them sit there and try to cry to like Mambo number 5. I'll tell you a little bit more about myself. Comedy's not my full-time job. By day, I work in advertising. Are we all familiar? Yeah, the right response is just sheer silence, okay? The way I have to explain my job to people is I'm the one making the videos on YouTube you don't want to watch before the videos that you do. And I'm fully aware that it is the longest 5 seconds of your life when your hand is hovering over that skip button. Some shit that took me months to make. Sometimes even years. It's just crying out for 5 seconds of your time and respect. For someone who works in advertising, I should be immune to ads, right? Because I know all the tricks. But I don't care. I buy a lot of stupid shit. Like, did anyone else here in lockdown try to fill the giant gaping holes in their souls with an endless stream of Amazon packages? Like, to the point you didn't even remember what you ordered? I think it was Lockdown Season 2, which I think we can all agree was the better season. I don't know if like the writers changed or whatever it was, but I decided I was gonna get shredded, okay? So I got a very heavy kettlebell. The fact that you laugh means I'm not shredded, so thank you so much. I got a very heavy kettlebell, which is now just a very heavy doorstop. The door has not closed in 3 years now. Another point, an ad followed me around the internet and convinced me to buy a weighted blanket for the top of my bed for my anxiety. And then I got an electric blanket for the bottom, which was emotionally confusing, but also very erotic. But the stupidest thing I spent my money on in lockdown was a 16-setting vibrator called the Clit Annihilator. Now, it's not actually called that, but I will not do their advertising for them for free. I call this thing the Clit Annihilator, though, because technically, this thing should be classified as a power tool. It's so strong. My downstairs neighbor told me to stop vacuuming my flat so late at night. And sometimes very early in the morning. What can I say? My flat is very dusty. But the ads for the Clit Annihilator promised me an orgasm as catastrophic and destructive as the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. And there would be no survivors. I thought that sounded delightful. I was like, click, drag to basket. Yes, she will pay for next day delivery. But it turns out my clit's a very simple woman who does not need 16 ways to be blasted off my body. Settings 1 to 3 would have been enough, okay? But I felt the need to justify the purchase of this thing because I dropped a lot of money on it. So I did what any single woman in her mid-30s trying to reconcile her relentless horniness in a global pandemic would do. I had a date night for myself in the Clit Annihilator. And let me tell you, you have not lived until you've seduced yourself. By lighting some candles, preparing a nice post-orgasm charcuterie board. That's charcuterie board for one. And then just totally gone to town on yourself with what can only be described as the Tesla of vibrators. Now, the Clit Annihilator did scare me the other night. Yes, she is still talking about her vibrator. Gotta talk about what you know. I went out, had some drinks after work, and I came home feeling frisky, and I decided I was gonna go all the way with the Clit Annihilator. That's setting 16. Now, when I went to setting 16, you guys, I might as well have hit a big red turbo button, because this thing sounded like it was trying to break the sound barrier. It was so strong, it gave me heart palpitations. And I thought I was having a heart attack and that I was going to die. And then I thought, what a way to go. Dead in my bed, the clit annihilator still buzzing. This thing's got a great battery life. It's like an old Nokia. It will not die. You know, and then my downstairs neighbor would have to call emergency services because I've been vacuuming the flat for so long. They'd have to burst in, come into my bedroom, and pull back the weighted blanket, and I'd be in there like Winnie the Pooh, tops on, bottoms off. Hand in the honey pot. And then my poor sister at my funeral would have to walk up to the podium to like the Macarena and say some stupid shit like, well, at least she died doing what she loved. You guys have been awesome. I've been Brown Sauce. Thank you and good night.
One more time, Bronwyn, sweetie!